Good morning, everybody. It's Wednesday, July 24th, and this is the AgYield War Room. I'm Dan Dempsey, and I'll be moderating today's session. As always, if you've got any questions or comments, please feel free to drop us a line in the chat area, and we'll be sure to get to it during the show. Overnight markets here, December quarter unchanged at 417 and a quarter. November soybeans were down 6 and a quarter at 1069 and a quarter, and December Chicago wheat was down 2 at 565 and 3/4. Good morning, guys. Hope everybody's doing well. Dustin, maybe a few thoughts here just to kick us off. Beans weaker overnight. The couple of things only really that I saw this morning. We're picking up steam on some excessive heat out west. Justin touched on a little yesterday. Maybe that heat after rain's never really a bad thing. It's just if we keep the water coming. So, with that being said, maybe a few thoughts here, and then we'll throw it around the room.
Yeah, I wish I had more of an opinion right at the moment. I know we've had this little rebound coming off of record short fund positions, and I think there's still a lot of political uncertainty right now. I don't know how much you can attribute the recent bean weakness to Trump's polling numbers, right? And then obviously we've had the shakeup over the weekend. Followed by a rebound in beans and corn. So I think what we talked about yesterday still holds true. There's been a lot of bearish things that have been thrown at this market. And you look at even some of the most bearish years, such as 2013, where it just went straight down, you're going to have short covering rallies in between then. So the fact that we got all the way down to right about the level just above where 85% insurance policies start paying for growers that are expecting their to grow at APH yields, and then we bounced for corn and also for beans. I don't think that's a coincidence. So I don't know. I'm kind of letting the market tell us what it thinks and continuing to watch the forecast for directional changes.
Very good, Ben. What's on your mind this morning?
Yeah, we discussed on previous war rooms that there was the managed money was taking pretty big risk by getting short this early in the growing season. Small change in the weather outlook. We could flip back the other way. We've seen this growing season really be kind of spoon fed with the right conditions, and we're 2/3, 3/4 of the way through pollination through most of the country and came through it pretty well. The bounce that we had, I would think should have been expected at some point. Just knowing if we can turn this into enough to see some more short covering. I don't think you're going to get the end user to come and panic and start buying grains on July 24th just yet. And I think the grower still has a lot of grain above the market. So, beans probably, if they want to really get unhinged because of August weather, the short there from a percentage is a lot larger than in corn. So, kind of in the same camp as Dustin is. I think you got to wait and see what the market wants to do. Make sure you're content with where you're at. I wouldn't be shocked if they wanted to extend a little more short covering, and I wouldn't be shocked if yesterday was it. And I know that sounds really kind of ambivalent, but there's a lot of people that have that are in a game of chicken right now, and we're at probably our first inflection point with a weather change.
Hey, Justin, I was reading a story this morning I thought was kind of interesting relative to canola and the fact that there's the potential that canola could play a pretty big role in renewable fuels potentially in the U.S. as we go forward, just given the high oil content. And my question, I guess, was, could that shake out, canola production? I'm not as familiar with that in the United States, and I know it's more prevalent in Canada, but could you see that becoming a shift, as we go forward, given the oil content and things of that nature?
Yeah, it's something we've talked about for a couple of years, ever since the announcements of making these renewable diesel plants and new crush facilities, that, oil share should continue to go up, because at some point you've always had to crush for meal. In a soybean, you make way more meal than oil, and oil is always the byproduct. And now that could potentially switch. Now we had, as we talked about many times on this podcast, is that we had a bad Argentine drought a couple of seasons ago. So global crush margins were record high. So that cushioned the blow of making too much meal. So we, even though we did crush record amounts, we were able to, easily export meal to the point where meal is still relatively expensive to oil. Even though we're using way more oil, and a lot of that is because we've imported a lot of Canadian oil, as well as used cooking oil, all the things that we've talked about. So soybean oil which makes sense, got expensive to the world, and then we went through a point where it became priced as almost the same as used cooking oil, right? So we've seen some real big ebbs and flows in that market as we're trying to get used to this new demand source and how it kind of affects global trade. So yes, I think eventually you will see higher oil content. Soybeans, more areas that grow canola. You can't currently grow canola in central Illinois, right?
Right. That was my question. Yeah. How far can you come
Yeah,
east, I guess?
Dakotas. We've seen summer canola in the Delta. So there's maybe the technology will catch up where it pays to grow some different varieties of canola further down south and further up from the north, depending on the whether it's winter or summer canola and some things like that. So yeah, I think we are seeing all those kinds of things. Sunflower production pick up because of oil content, and if this biofuels movement continues, which I don't see a huge reason that it won't. Maybe depending if Trump gets elected and some things change, or right now the biggest problem is that a lot of these mandates and things like that aren't long term, so you don't know, is this a 1 or 2 year deal? Is it the next 10 years? When Bush came out with the ethanol mandates, you could see a clear path for 5, 6, 7 years, and it kind of ramped up that whole biofuels thing. So if it continues, yes, I do believe we'll see more high oil content stuff like canola. But we already are seeing a lot come in from Canada, and another reason for that's that it was really fueled by California and their incentives there. So logistically, they could get canola, over there, and same as the pull from like Iowa to the Dakotas, pulling oil that way to help hit those mandates.
Oh, good. Very good. I appreciate that. Rylan, we got a couple of minutes here. We're coming in to the open. Sharp rally late yesterday in the beef. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, the cattle market really took off yesterday. I think cash market was really the surprise for everybody. So, I mean, we saw packers actually coming after cattle pretty early on, which it's pretty early in the week. So, I think overall that caught the market off guard. There's some light sales posted at 187, and bids went up to about 188. So this would be steady from last week. I think everybody was kind of looking at it like we were going to see lower trade just because the beef continues to kind of grind lower, but that didn't happen. So open interest is up just a little bit, so maybe a little bit of new buying here, but overall just kind of felt like mostly short covering for the most part. But yeah, we're starting to build this momentum. Looks like cash is going to try to hold up here for the time being, and yeah, like I said, I think it just kind of caught the market off guard quite a bit. So I think that's something to watch for the rest of the week, especially in the north where dressed haven't seen any pickup yet. It's probably going to be later in the week, but we'll see. I mean, the expectation is still potentially lower prices there, so we'll see if that kind of evens out the average this week. But definitely better technical momentum. So we'll see if we can narrow the gap a little bit between where the discount is on the board relative to cash. And that's something to focus on, I think, for the week. But the hog market, kind of same thing, nice short covering rally here. And for the most part, the funds kind of got short a little bit, and we're seeing seasonal demand kind of ramp up here for the most part. Also on the live side of the market, weights were down like 1.1 pounds, so producers seem pretty current here for the time being. So you've added a lot of kind of good news to this. Kind of feels like it's the start of something, but I think generally speaking, a rally to this degree, this kind of late in the game, it may be kind of limited for the duration that it can last. But it's kind of been cash led at this point. Cutout was a little bit lower, so we'll be kind of following the meat, see if there's any indication, tomorrow on the export market, see if that's kind of been help bolstering this rally. And overall, it just seems like we're seeing some nice kind of seasonal improvement in the meat markets.
Very good. Appreciate the update. Couple of things to point out. We've got export sales also for grains will be out tomorrow morning, 7:30 Central. We'll take a look at that report. We'll visit about it in the war room. Jack will be in hosting tomorrow, so it will be a fun show for everybody tuning in. If you love the war room as much as we do, give us a like and subscribe. It helps us out. Also lets us know that everybody's appreciating the content and gets you access to some premium content there. So give us a like and subscribe if you get a chance there. It doesn't cost you anything. It's a click of a button. Every day that the markets are open, we're streaming live on X, Facebook Live, and YouTube Live, 8:15 Central Time. Appreciate the thoughts and comments this morning, guys. It was a good show. Look forward to talking to everybody again tomorrow. Hope you have a great day. Thanks.